Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. Ronaldo and I are going to present the tax compliance solution, and we have a really amazing case study for fraud investigation using Visual Investigator. So I'm Taya Diane. I came on to SAS about 3 years ago. My entire career before SAS was doing fraud investigation, compliance, audit. I've managed teams of investigators, managed teams of auditors, and done a lot of outreach and education as well. And I came on to SAS about 3 years ago. I have a passion for using data to help solve problems and make life better for our tax agencies. And so that's me, but Ronaldo has a much more interesting story than I do, so I'm going to let him share it.
All right.
Ronaldo?
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Ronaldo Oliveira. I'm from Brazil. I'm a tax auditor since 2010 at Secretaria da Fazenda do Rio Grande do Sul. And I would like to present two real cases that happened there, and I think will be interesting to see. Before I present the two cases, I would like to highlight how big the volume of information, of data we have there, all right? First of all, this case I represent used the SAS Visual Investigator, okay? And to create the environment, to create the infrastructure, the data infrastructure, we define 90 types of entities, all right? Individual companies, tax documents, phone numbers, emails, whatever, okay? And we could map more than 30 million individuals, company mapped. So more than 30 million entities, all right? And we could create between these entities 250 million links identified, okay? Interesting to keep in mind this number, the 30 million, because the first case, I'll show you one case that used this data, right? So we processed more than 264 million addresses. We established relationship between entities and addresses, more than 382 million links. I know maybe for one of them is not a good volume, but for us is a good volume, is a great volume, all right? We indexed a little more than 23 million documents, all right? It's important to highlight for you that in Brazil, all documents related to tax are electronic, all right? Also, all electronic documents, and more than 30 million phone numbers, okay? Related to the database that you use it, you can see the department license in motor vehicle, all right? We got more information related to vehicles, to car, truck, whatever. Invoices for us is the electronic tax document, okay? Corporate individual register, cargo manifest is very important. In the second case, I'll show you the importance of cargo manifest to find one information, all right? Well, another important case, this one is it's important to know that we have a solution. It's related to fraud investigation, but is specific to find some irregularities or some diversions close real time. So to do that, we analyze invoices per day, 1,075,000 documents, because each document has on average 4 items. So if you multiply 1.75 for 5, you see how many lines we create in our database per day, okay? Interesting to know that since January to March, we could identify, much better said, more than 5,000 alerts related to this case, the irregularity, okay? This is, I know this is only numbers, but it's important to show you our background. It's important to understand what we have to work every day, okay? Now, I'd like to present the first case, fraud identification, okay? Before I start, I would like to explain a situation. Brazilians are very, very enthusiastic to define terms for situations or person, whatever. For example, if a man is a little slow, tired, we'll call him banana, for example, all right? And if you have a big problem, I have a cucumber to solve it, all right? In this situation, we have another term. Straw account in this case, straw in Portuguese is orange, yes. It's a little different, but to understand, that's why in the center, in the square in the center, get some fruit, that's the question, because this is translation of the news, it was public there, all right? So what is the situation? Do you remember that 30 million relationship in the first slide? We load this data in the VI, okay? And you're looking for some different situations or relations, whatever. Oh my God, what is this? Then we found this situation left. The first, if you're looking for the bottle, you see mentor accountant and the over straw accountant, call it orange, all right? What is this situation said for us? Said that if you pay attention, you see orange square around the first case, all right? Can you see that? This case is, so our companies that is called shell companies, all right? What the proposed, this case exists in Brazil because the mentor accountant creates many shell companies to create credit in the document to use it to generate money, all right? That's the essence. So in the situation was important because when we identify mentor accountant, we realized that he or her was migrating these companies to the straw. So we could select absolute 100% that straw was just a front change in this case. Do you understand? So what was important to understand in this case? Maybe can seem simple, could say, but the reality is complex. To identify the situation we use in a relational database is very, very complex, okay? So in summary, this operation result in more or less $45 million, okay, this operation. And the mentor accountant, I think, is in prison today. Probably yes, he's in prison, okay? So what is important to understand the situation? That without this view in graph is almost impossible to understand the situation, to understand to make a real analysis, a real analysis, okay? Well, the second case is finding a wanted person, but you can ask me, Ronaldo, it's not a fraud detection, what the hell is that? Okay? This is a situation very interesting because we receive a request from the other state, another agency, asking to help to find a person. This person was a bad guy, of course, okay? And this request came to CFA, Secretaria da Fazenda, from the other agent, the other state that sent it to the same agent in the same state us, but different SFAT, and came to us and asked, guys, could you help us to find this individual? We said, okay, what do we have? Only CPF. CPF in Portuguese, in US, is similar to security number, probably, yes, I think so. Okay? How to find? So we try to selecting many relational database we have, and we didn't find email, telephone, no electronic document, no telephone bills, nothing. The guy was a kind of ghost, like a Patrick Swayze, the old times, okay?
Yep.
He's a ghost. But we thought, my God, we have this tool, the visual investigator. I will load the CPF in the system to see what I have. And we got this relation there that's most important, because this guy, just one explanation. Motorista is the middle of the line. In English is driver, okay? So the person had a direct relationship with a company. What kind of relationship? He was a driver, all right? Driver of what? Truck. So with this information, and if you look in the behind, the right there, you see you see the period, the range of data that the electronic document, in this case, manifest of cargo, okay? And we thought, my God, we found the company, we found the manifest, we found the relationship, so let me see if I can identify what is this vehicle, what's the truck, okay? So we open the manifest and identify the license plate. With the license plate, we're looking for in another system in the SAS that should try to track where that vehicle was in a specific moment. And luckily, we could identify where this vehicle was. It was amazing. Then we found and called back to the police department. Guys, I think we found what you're looking for. Yes, really, try to find the trucker with the plate number, blah, 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 and there's a great chance you find your wanted, okay? Then we send a message, call them. 6 minutes later, we receive a call back. And guys, we got him. You got him? What? You got him what? No, we got him. We found him. We found what? The guy. 6 minutes between to call the police department and receive the information that he got. So this picture there is when the police department found the truck, okay? The other picture there is when the cops gave him a Swarovski bracelet to use, okay? So it was this situation. So why did I bring this case? Why? Because I think it's important to show that I know that this tool was built to find a fraud, tax fraud, identify taxpayer, bad taxpayer. I know that. But you can use in another situation and help a lot. That's the potential of the tool. That's the point.
And you have got such a great reputation with using all of the databases from all of these different sources.
Exactly.
And coming up with really good results that now you're getting requests from other agencies. And I think that then helping them, that's wonderful.
Yes, that's the point. So that's why I bring this case. I think that if you ask me what is most important, for me is the case 1, of course, but the most interesting, the case 2. Because in some cases we spend months, years, sometimes looking for a bad person. And this one in 6 minutes. Oh my God, it's okay, much better than FBI.
Exactly.
Much better. Okay. So, let me see if I have. No, I think is enough. If you have any questions, please. If you not, I will pass the word to Taya.
Can you get? Sorry, we're doing questions in the center for this part, and then I'm going to get into the demo. But my stuff is much more boring than his, so wanted to give Ronaldo time.
Can you hear me?
Oh, hold on, we can't hear.
Hello?
No.
Oh,
No.
there we
Okay.
go.
Yes? Okay. Wait, I have one question. How long does it take to build this database? Because as you told us, you generate this database with data for different departments. So how long does that take, and how do you convince all the departments to share that information? Because sometimes I think departments are jealous about their information. No?
Absolutely, absolutely. But well, how long will it take to build this infrastructure, the data infrastructure, not the physical freaking infrastructure? You could say 1 year, maybe more, maybe less, but the important case is not how long to build, the continuous improvement. It is very important. It's very hard. It's very hard to keep updated, quality, security, whatever. There are many factors to keep this information up to use, all right? But I think 1 year, we built many ETL from many databases. We have a kind of partner, legal partner, I don't know in English how can I say, that you can share information with another agency. So you use the data and send the other type. So it's possible to build. And what's important, we are a revenue service, so we have much information that anybody doesn't. Do you understand? So it's easy for us to relate it, to try to relate different bases. Okay, that's the point. But answering your question, 1 year, more or less, more. Okay, no problem.
Any other questions for Ronaldo right now?
I have a question. Do you have any advice for adopting this solution just to be successful with it?
Well, the first one, Cameron, right? Yes, Cameron. The first advice is keep going. Keep going. It's hard. It's not easy. All right? It's not easy to use the tool. No, it's not easy to build, to change the culture. All right? Because we need sometimes to prove that tools works. No need to prove. So this is evidence that works, right? But until you get this result, how to prove? How to say to my boss, trust me, it's okay, we'll get. Do you understand? So the first advice is keep going, all right? The second one, build, construct, bridge it. Figure it, all right. Bridge it between people that could help you to modulate this data. All right, because it's not just to copy data, to transfer data, to insert data in database. No, there are many situations you need the business area or the final user to say what's important for them. Okay, so I think to start these 2 points is good. Okay.
I will also add to that, and that is start where you are and build a foundation with smaller use cases and keep going. Keep the quality of your data good and make sure that you are linking that to the next project and the next project so that it's an iterative process. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
And always, implement machine learning so you're constantly improving your models and your decisioning.
It's a real PDCA.
How much time do we have right now?
Yes. 5
Okay.
minutes, okay.
All right, so I will go into the demo.
Thank you,
and
guys.
it is recorded because I was having some issues with internet earlier. So this is the interface for VI, and you'll see here, this is just a dashboard. We've got a couple of alert queues in here. The main thing that I wanted to bring up is the search feature. So all of the components for the databases that are included in this demo are listed here. And you can click on every single one of them. This is all a drill down. So as high level as you get, you can have your executive dashboards and then drill it down into the source data. And each one of these will have, you know, an object inspector where you can see some of the basic information, whether that's an e-invoice or a tax return or even a phone number or bank transactions through audit selection, you know, audit information. There are so many different things that you can include in your analysis. And to bring in all of those components where they might be very disparate systems, very, very siloed, divisional, you know, everybody owns their own thing, you can bring this in no matter what the source, no matter what the type of data it is. So using our text analytics, using some of the document vision, doing that with an SQL database, and then an ETL pull from your core system. There are so many different ways to do this where it is usable data for the analysis of the use case and the problem that you're trying to solve or improve. So within each of these, here, let me see if I can get back to my alerts. Okay, here we go. So this is the alert queue. And I was a manager of investigation teams. I don't want my teams spending their time on stuff that isn't important. And so with each one of these queues, I want them spending their time on the top most important stuff, the high value work. Because an investigation or an audit is an expensive process. With each one of these scores, you can go into the components that will be weighted appropriately for your specific use case. And so you can adjust these. The levers are adjustable to determine what is weighted more and what is more important versus what is less important. And then it goes into a comprehensive risk score that you can then determine where your most valuable work is going to be and where to put that. And so, come on. Sorry, it's on a recording. Let's get into this. All right. So this is the one I want to take a look at. So I'm going to click on here. It's got some major issues with 16 out of 84 refunds were looking risky. I want to pay attention to stuff because that means that the money's going out the door and it shouldn't be. So here's their dashboard within the case. I can see all of these different components, and again, they're weighted separately to have that one comprehensive score at the top to show that this is what I need to spend my time on. In addition, you can see on the right-hand side, and I'm skipping ahead because we're running out of time, but the behavioral analytics. What happened and when did it happen? What changed? And you can look at this as like a structural break. You can look at this as just a graph, but there are different ways to determine how to analyze behavior of a taxpayer or behavior of an actual demographic of taxpayers that can kind of go into this. And again, on the network, this is what I want to pay attention to. This is my fraud ring. And I want to see if this is going to attach, like your case with the straw accountants, all of these shell corporations. Have you ever seen The Laundromat? It's a show, I forget who sells it, or who has it on streaming, but it's essentially based on the Panama Papers. And if you haven't seen it, do it. It's all about the shell corporations, all about the stuff that, complete tax avoidance, and it's actually really well done. So take a look at that laundromat. It's called The Laundromat, and it's all about money laundering. But it also has a lot of tax issues. Go figure. So in here, we can see that there are different components on what the identifiers are, the affiliations are for the specific entity, for the specific person. We can see that there are several different nodes within the linkages, within the affiliates, that I need to take a look at. So as we get through here, we can see what's common, if it shared an email, if it shared a phone number, if it shared bank transactions. All of this is broken down before I even get into the network, because that can, if you just click on the network, it looks like a spider web and it can get overwhelming really fast. We do have some capability to really look at the high risk stuff, and I've got some more information on that over at the booth. And this is what I'm talking about. So this will actually show you kind of what your investigators need to pay attention to most within that network, and that's pretty cool. I know we've only got 2 minutes, so I'm going to stop it here. Are there any questions at this point? Okay. So within the tax compliance solution, we also have another case study that Ronaldo would like to share at some point. If anyone's interested, we can do that over at the public sector booth. I've got a bunch of other capabilities, including to show you, including one of the cases that I worked as an investigator. Again, if you guys were in the session yesterday, as an investigator, it took me 9 months from discovery of an underground economy issue to prosecution. And as thorough as I was, it took me 9 months, and I know I missed things because I did not have that automated data ingestion. It was all manual process. So I'm talking highlighters on my desk. So this was something I put into VI as soon as I got into SAS, and within minutes I had my entire fraud network displayed, and it was beautiful. So you know, there are some different things that we can show you. I know a lot of people say tax is boring. I think it's fascinating, and it affects so many things. Think about how much we change with policy simulation, how much we affect our constituents, our residents, how much we can optimize what collection activity we do, what's fair, what's equitable, what's good for the agency to do, what is worthy of spending time on, and efforts and resources. So this is all stuff that we can help with. So thank you so much for sharing your story, Ronaldo. I absolutely have loved hearing it.
Thank you, Taya. Thank you for your attention, guys.
Yes, thank you.
It was a big pleasure to present our case, and I hope to come soon early. All right? Thank you so much.
All right, thanks you guys.